Hello. I'll wait 2 or 3 more minutes and then we will start. I'll turn the camera so guys on Twitch can see us as well. Aby bol obraz vyšší. Super. Ešte, aby bol viac na mňa. I will also ask our space engineers to come over and say hello. It's okay. Ja som myslel, že kameru, ale... Hey.
Say hello to the Twitch stream. Hey, Twitch stream.
Joel.
Yeah?
Can you please switch on your jetpack and fly around a bit?
Actually, we have a malfunction. I'm out of power. I've run out of power.
Okay.
So unfortunately not.
Okay.
No.
Am
I just gonna...
Okay, so I will... Is it 1, 2? Ashik? 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Okay.
1, 2. Test. Does it work? Yeah, it's there? Okay, fantastic.
Wait, is it working?
Okay, now, second test. Yeah, it's much better. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to King Software House. Welcome to our premises, which are part of the Week of Innovation 2018, which is organized not only in Prague, but in the entire Czech Republic. We are very happy to see you all here in our office, but also we are very happy to have a lot of people on our Twitch stream, on our King Community Network. My name is Vladislav Polgar, and I'm a Chief Operation Officer for King Software House. So in reality, I'm dealing with everything except of coding. So I'm responsible for making sure there are new people coming on board, that there are financials being set up correctly, that there are PR and promotion and marketing activities up and running, and so on and so on. The technical guys will be presenting the most of our today's presentation, so I will be kind of a moderator only, and I will have Joel here with me helping with all the other stuff except of flying around in this space costume. So, going to the agenda. We will have a short presentation from me about who we are and what we do for those who don't know King Software House, which I doubt there are too many people like this here. And then we will have a 20 minutes presentations for both space and medieval engineers, and we will take question and answers after that. We will have a short break afterwards where you can enjoy the games over there, enjoy the VR, and also talk to our developers who will come and will be available for you to any kind of questions or suggestions, comments, and so on. In the afternoon part of our today's event, there will be Natik, and he will talk about the art stuff. So how does the work actually look like when you want to build up something such an incredible as space and medieval engineer? So he will take you through this. A little bit of an again. Okay, it seems out of as it seems out of battery or something. I will try to speak out loud. Hopefully you can hear me also in the background there. Is it okay? Good. So you can access our Wi-Fi, and why we are asking you to access the Wi-Fi is a simple reason. We are using Slido for any kind of questions you might have. So log into Slido. You can use the even number 2804, and you can pose the questions which will be displayed on the screen on the right-hand side that you can see there. So no need to raise your hand, no need to voice, shout, whatever. You can pose the questions. Even for those who don't speak English, no problem. You can write in Czech or in Slovak, and we will translate it to English for everyone who simply doesn't understand Czech or Slovak. So that's a little bit. And for the Twitch, for the people on the Twitch stream, the same. You can go to the Slido and you can type questions there. We'll have approximately 20 minutes for a Q&A at the end of the morning part, and the same in the afternoon. So I think there will be plenty of time to answer and address all your questions. Also, if you want to see the password for the wiki, for the Wi-Fi, it's there in the background on the wall right behind you. So for those of you who would like to get online on our Wi-Fi. So who we are and what we do. You probably all know Marek Rosa. Marek Rosa is our CEO, who established Keen Software House back in 2010. Right now we are an independent game development studio where at this moment there are up to 40 people overall in Keen Software House working on the game development of our main two games, which are Space and Medieval Engineers. Most of you probably also know that Marek has developed also other games. The most significant, in my opinion, was the Minor Wars, which is something like a beginning for sandbox open world games that we currently are developing, and both Space and Medieval Engineers. Both games are currently on PC only, and both games, I mean Medieval and Space, are early access. Our roadmap, of course, is to simply go out of the early access and finalize the games. This is what we are simply heading to, but this is now like a firm timeline when we want to do this, so there would be a pure speculation if I would say that this will happen this month or this year or that year or whatever. But definitely we are already 5th year in an early access, so I think it's the right time to finish the game and so on. What we are also working on is porting the game onto the Xbox. This has been already announced a couple of years ago. Right now we are in a pretty good stage in getting there, and that's also one of our activities that we are currently doing for Space Engineers. What is the structure of the team? As we are very small game development studio, the structure is really flat. We don't have any kind of layers of management or layers of whatever structures and so on and so on. We have Space Engineers teams of developers, testers, and designers. Very same for Medieval Engineers. And we have Natix team. And the reason why I'm mentioning specifically Natix team is because they are covering both. So there is a visual style, and there is a style that Marek simply has, and there is a end vision how the games should look like, and simply Natix team is the group of people who are making it happen. So they're always interlocking with Marek. They have a lot of iterations when going through any kind of design of blocks or anything in the game, lights, particles, and so on and so on. So Natix team is actually responsible for making sure that in both games we have pretty much the same visual style and entire kind of graphical style in the game. And then we have our back office team. I'm part of back office team, so all the finance activities, HR, PR, marketing, community management, and so on and so on. So this is really in a nutshell about our team, about what we do. We are all based here in Prague. Of course, we have some people who are working with us and for us abroad. So those are our, let's say, contractors that are working with us. But primarily, we are trying to have all people here on board with us, because it's definitely much better to meet and interact with people on a daily basis when you can see them, talk to them, discuss with them, and so on and so on. So this would be about our team. Where you can find us, these are only the most important social media and places where you can see us. Of course, our main web page, then the web pages for our games, as well as the social media of Facebook and Twitter. and Discord, where we are currently very active in terms of addressing the players' comments, concerns, even bug reports, and so on and so on. And right now we are on Twitch as well, so that's where you can see us as well. So this would be really very shortly about the Space Engineers. And now we'll go to Space Engineers as a game itself, and we will have Filip Dušek, who will be presenting Space Engineers. And Filip is our developer of Space Engineers, so he's part of our core team. So I will ask Filip to come over, and I'll be back in a second. Where did it disappear? Okay, and before Filip will start, we'll go through the latest video that we had for our latest major release.
So, hi everyone. I hope you liked our trailer. By the way, the Joel was in the one of the people who were making this video, so I hope you like it. Who is the Team Red here? Team Red? Anyone? Team Blue? I'm Team Blue. I think that the blue will win in the next trailer, maybe. So I will try to give you some basic info about the space engineers. I'm Filip Dušek. I'm one of the lead programmers on the space engineers. My responsibility or my place what I do in the space engineers is mostly gameplay code, sounds code, particles, and from time to time I do some backend stuff like Steam integration, or we have our custom builder built on TeamCity technology. So I do this. What is space engineers? I probably who never saw space engineers in entire life here? Hands up. Okay. Space engineers is early access on Steam. We have about 3.5 million players at this moment, and our Steam workshop is really huge. It's one of the biggest one on the Steam with over 210,000 mods. Of course, some of them are not working. Hopefully, we will get to the point where we will be able to stabilize our API and make it better for the players. We have over 240 items on Steam Market, and usually in terms of transaction we are in top 10 on the Steam. Okay, Sandbox. Space Engineers is Sandbox game. If you ever played any Sandbox game, it's pretty much it's a style of game in which players doesn't have any limitations. We are trying to make a really big world, which is open, and the player can somehow influence and this world change it. There are two main parts, two gameplay elements, which we are proud of. One of them is construction, and the second one is survival. You can pretty much build anything in our game, and this is a part of the survival. So if you want to survive on planet, you need oxygen and you need power and that kind of stuff. Our world is really big. You can play it in infinite world, which is it's common at this moment, but a few years ago it was really something which was not achieved yet. And of course you can play it in single player if you want to, and soon we will have a really cool new major with the multiplayer changes. Anyone was playing the multiplayer test a few days ago? So I hope you like it, because we spent 2 and maybe 3 months on it, and pretty much optimized everything which we could find. There are still some issues, of course, bugs and that kind of stuff, because it's in early development stage. But hopefully soon, with the trademark, we will have a new version, and I think you will like it. Okay, features. There are some few basic features which you can do in our game. Like I said, you can build stuff, but of course, because our game is voxel based, you can actually change the world around you. You can build a case and change the asteroids, and you can do whatever you want to. There is one special feature which I think is not common even in current technology. It's our physics. It's very realistic, as close as possible for current hardware. and pretty much like every object can be created or destroyed, disassembled, including the box of planets and everything which is in the world, except the sun, because that's just the background picture. We have really huge community, and most of you are part of it. And trust me, we love our community because sometimes there are some talented modders. Do we have any modder here? Sektan is here. I'm pretty sure he's here somewhere. No?
I didn't see him.
No?
No, not yet.
We have some talented modders, and every time I see some stuff, it's like some crazy stuff. Like 3 days ago, I saw the bus. It was a real bus. You can go in, and Joel was driving it, and it was crazy. Yeah, it was small windows, like I think it was a hacked blueprint. But yeah, some crazy stuff you can create. It's really amazing which people can make. And of course, you can find us on community sites like Twitch, Discord, forums, feedback, Twitter. We have a new feedback site, few months old. But if you have any crazy idea, if you have any idea which you would like to see in our game, go to the feedback site and vote on something, or just give us feedback what you think about our custom game. And there is a CTG. Do we have any CTG member here? I don't think so. Wow, two CTG members. Wow, crazy. We have this CTG is a closed testing group. We have a group of people from the community which are helping us with the feedback. We give them previews of the builds, and they play it. They give us feedback. They test it. They report back. So this is very useful, guys, and I thank them for that. You can move next. Okay, VRH. Our game is powered by VRH engine. It's an older engine which we were using on Miner Wars and other games which we had before. Okay, what is this engine? It's pretty much a voxel-based 6 degree of freedom engine, 3D engine, when you can like destroy and deform anything in the world except including the voxels, like one big planet or asteroids over there. It's written completely from our side. It's written completely in C#. There are some parts which are C++ managed or third-party libraries which are C++. For example, we are using Havok, we are using SharpDX, we are using DirectX 11, we are using Xaudio. So these parts are like third-party parts, are usually in C++, or we have our custom Havok wrapper which is in C++ managed. So these are the basic features. Our engine is DirectX 11. It's physical-based render, deferred render. So almost like current top technology in the industry. And maybe some people usually ask why we didn't use any other technology, why we didn't use Unreal, or why we didn't use Unity. It's because first, if you want to make something special, if you want to like custom features, if you want to have something which is not usual, which is not common, you don't find it in these engines. And of course, there are some technological limitations. We wanted to use the C# and .NET framework because it's it's faster to create some new feature, or it's faster to iterate over our code. And there are some features like edit and continue in Visual Studio 2013, which we are using actually, which help us to make the game faster. So that's why we created our engine. It's about 150,000 lines big, if I count the space engineers. And one of the special things is that our engine is using double precision technology instead of, if you are a programmer, you probably know, usually engines are using float, which is not precise. So our engine is double precision, and actually our voxel technology is still on the top, even if it's 4 years old, or maybe even longer, maybe 5 years old. So these are the features which we created in our engine, and that's probably that's it from me, I think. Enjoy your stay here, and if you have any
I would like to also welcome Petr Minarik, right there sitting in the background, who is a game producer for Space Engineers. So now we will take some questions, and maybe there will be also something for you, Peter. So if you can please come over here, and we'll be addressing a few questions that we have here on the Slido. Thank you very much for posting it, first of all. So first is, could Marek publicly explain what his complete vision of the game should be in detail, updated when changed naturally, or is this priority that it's a secret? We can ask Marek, and we can suggest it to him. He's not here today, so he really apologized he couldn't make it, but he is not in Czech Republic today, so therefore he couldn't join this event today. But we will take this question and suggestion, and he will tell him. Maybe there will be some blog posts in the future where he can address it and he can explain a little bit more into the details as requested, how the game should look like and what it really should be at the end. The second question was, are you going to talk about any interesting insights of the game development or any interesting problems that you had to solve? So maybe this is a question for a technical team, technical guys. So I don't know, Philip, if there is something specific that you'd like to mention. Okay.
Sometimes you hit the limit of hardware in the ways you didn't think you could. For example, because I specialize on sounds lately, if you have a sound in the 3D space, it's usually easy to hear it if there is just one. Let's say you have a missile turret firing from here, and the other missile turret firing from here. You were probably, in normal world, you would hear both of them. But in the games it's a little bit tricky, because if we start the sound on both at the same time, you will hear just the one sound, which will be more high volume. So we were thinking how to change this issue, because usually you want to hear as much as possible. So what we did, and it's actually in the game already. If you have like three turrets or 30, it doesn't matter. You hear all the turrets around you, but if there is any turret which is shooting at the same time, and it's far from you, you will not hear it. And it's okay, because you are standing here, you hear everything around you, but you don't hear the turret which is shooting from the 50 meters from you, because there is already sound which is playing. So this kind of tricks, which they are not accurate, but from the point of the programmer, it's interesting that you have to like split the sounds so the user can hear properly in the environment.
So that would be one. Petr, anything from you that you'd like to mention?
Maybe I would like to mention multiplayer because maybe you know we are not working for a lot of time on multiplayer. And we tried some solutions which weren't best, but currently I think we found very good technology approach which we were trying on latest beta playtest. And I hope that this version will be like really great and you will appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. So the next question was, the last Q&A might cause a lot of confusion. Does Keen have a plan for better communication with the community in a clear and concise manner? What I can share with you is that we are currently hiring a new community manager who is outside of European Union, so therefore there is some visa process linked to this. So we are waiting for him to come and join us on site here in Prague, probably around July timeframe, and then we will have a clear, structured community management and outside community and everything what's around the PR and marketing stuff. So that's what we are going to have, and I hope I answered the question. The next one, will you ever release Space Engineers video making tools that are used internally? Joel, maybe this is something for you. So I will repeat again. Will you ever release a Space Engineers video making tool? Sorry, Professor. Video making tools that are used internally.
It's actually one for Peter, but it's more the fact like I think we want to, but it's having something that's used internally is different to something that we want to release to the public, because when it's internal we can have lots of, we don't have to have documentation, it can be a little bit kind of rough around the edges and so on. And the thing is, if we release it to public, there's a certain amount of people who will just get on with it fine and will be able to use it without a problem at all. But then there will be another selection of people who will just be confused why this feature, this thing that's being labelled as a feature doesn't work. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Pedro.
Okay, I would say one thing. Joel is used to suffer with such tools. Our players are not.
Yes. You would complain a lot if you would get this
I
one
am dead inside now.
Okay, thank you. Again, I hope it answered your question. You need to watch out your oxygen level in the space.
Yeah, it's okay. I've got
That's another one.
Okay. I haven't forgotten.
Is there going to be a more PvE content for Space Engineers? Thinking about it, this is currently not on our main roadmap plan, to be honest. So yes, there are a lot of alternatives. We have a regular, let's say, brainstorming sessions where we are going through possibilities, options, ideas from the team, from our community. We're trying to put it together. And on the last one, I can share with you that we come up with a total of approximately 100 ideas what we can implement in a game. And each of these ideas are like a couple months of work. So you can understand that it's almost impossible to get everything into the game. We simply have to have some priorities. And as well as Narek has his own vision of the game, of course. So this is what we need to take into consideration. We're deciding what is going to be the next. And right now, as Petr and Filip mentioned, we are really focusing on the multiplayer. And together with that, I can also share that there is a tons of optimizations. And I'm not a hardcore player, I can tell you. But when I played it before and right now, I was really impressed. And I think those of you who participated on this multiplayer testing recently, this week, I think you can also agree with me that there is a lot of optimization and a lot of good work being done. We know that we are maybe not there as where we would like to be, but really the progress is enormous and it's really, really great. So that would be about the question that was there. Will there be any more updates for a foreseeable future of Space Engineers? That's a good question. We have changed the way how we are introducing the releases and overall changes in the game. You saw that there was a lot of discussions around the community, whether it's a good or bad. We simply think it's a good idea to go from smaller weekly releases where we can add a lot of things, but on the other side we can also break a lot of things. And this was happening really often, that we even introduced something, but on the other side it broke several things that has been already working before, and community was always, of course, not really happy with this, because if something is working like an oxygen and suddenly it's not working, then there is a problem. On the other side, we now decided to go through the big releases. So that's why we spent, as Filip mentioned, 2 or 3 months currently working on the multiplayer. It's being finalized. We are currently in a testing phase of making sure that it's properly tested before it goes live. We went through this public test. And we have big releases like this planned also for the future. So again, I hope this answered the question. If not, then we can take it offline when we have a break. Ismail going to join us today? As I said, unfortunately, no. He is not in Czech Republic. Maybe it can be a miracle that he will show up. But the information I have personally is that he will not join us today. So he is really sorry he couldn't make it today. The next question, is there any ETA on the optimization that they mentioned a few months ago? The ETA for this, and I think I can share it, is around 1 month when we will definitely go live with all of this. So that's what we currently working on, and that's what Peter is definitely pushing the entire team to make it happen. And with this, we will have another incredible video created by Joel. So I hope you will all enjoy it, and you will like even more Space Engineers as a game. So that's what we are working on right now. And the next question. So what about the skins customization menu? You can change your character skin, but they're more in the menu already visible. Evo from the Netherlands. Not quite sure that I got completely the answer. So what about the skins customization menu? You can change your character skin, but they're more in the menu already visible. Not quite sure I'm following this question, so if you can elaborate, please. I think it's
someone. Is that you, Alfros, in the back?
No, it was Evo from Netherlands.
Oh, Evo
So
from
probably
another Evo. Okay.
on the Twitch stream. So please
Okay.
elaborate a little bit more, and we will come back to this. We will come back to this question shortly. What happened to in-game scenario creating? Will we see it again? Peter, maybe if you can answer this. So in-game scenario creating.
In-game scenario creating was replaced by visual scripting. So let's say it in the way that scenario creating in old way is obsolete, and we would like to use visual scripting for all new features, including scenarios and missions and campaigns.
Yeah. So again, I hope that answered the question. Another one, can one buy a ME t-shirt? We'll check if there is some on stock. Come to me, please, and we will figure it out if you can buy the t-shirt. We need Tim. Well, Tim is also traveling, so he's not in Czech Republic these days. He, I think, traveled to Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. So he's again also sorry that he couldn't make it, but he already had it booked before we organized this event. So I apologize for Tim not being here. Captain Fox is asking, is there any chance that you'll get back to Space Engineers? If not, will you sell it to another company? I'm not quite sure whether I got this question, but we are with Space Engineers. We are working on Space Engineers. We have a dedicated team working on Space Engineers. There is no one leaving the team. We simply have all the resources. You see the place here, so nothing is changing actually. What we changed, as I said, is we changed the way how we are addressing the releases and the major updates, or updates overall. So we are going from a small one, weekly, to big ones, which are a couple of months, because we want to make sure that we are bringing more things, and we test it really properly, so it's not going to have any kind of backwards problems being caused by the release that we are planning to do. So again, we are not abandoning Space Engineers. We are working on Space Engineers. We have even more dedicated people currently on Space Engineers because, for example, Internatics team is working on all the things that they are responsible for. I'm not going to disclose what it is, but really they are there. We have a Joel still with us, or Zokliv, as you know him from Twitch streams, so really nothing is changing. And even more, we are trying to get more people on board, like a community manager, as I've mentioned, and so on. So, and a question about selling Space Engineers to another company? No. Simple answer. So, okay. Going to the next one. Will someone update the screenshots, etc. on Medieval Steam page eventually? Yeah, it shouldn't be any problem. I'll talk to Tim, I'll talk to his team members, and we'll get it updated. So that shouldn't be any problem at all. Are there any plans to place the sun at the center of the space and the planets orbit around the sun with orbit asteroids, belts, and rolling comets?
No plans like that.
Okay, let me just close those that we already addressed. 1 second.
But it's possible it will be in some other game.
Okay, the next question is about the visual scripting. The visual scripting has been broken for a long time and many are waiting for updates for over a year. Will you be fixing visual scripting sometime soon?
We will fix it definitely, but
Yeah.
after multiplier.
How we are working, just to give you a little bit of a better understanding, how we are working right now. We have our regular goals being set up for the entire team. And with these goals, we simply want to make sure that we are not derailing. So there is no one team member coming to the office in the morning saying, oh, I had a great idea overnight and I'm going to do this and implement it, and then we will bring it to the game. That simply derails what we are doing overall as a team, and that can bring another problems even more than not only doing some small feature somewhere in the game for a specific group of players, but it can also break another things that can impact the entire team. So we simply are having the regular goals being set up by Marek and the entire leadership team, and this is what we are working on. Right now, on the roadmap, we have a multiplayer, so this is where entire team work is being focused on, and we are aiming to get this done as good as possible. So when there will be a visual scripting on the table, we will definitely do it and we will address it. So as Peter said, we know about it, we will address it, but we don't want to simply work on 10 things at a time, because we would rather focus on one thing at a time and do it as good as possible for the game. So, will you add mod support for the 3D printing of ships? Because as far as you know, modded blocks just vanish. Question to Peter, he's nodding, so okay. Putting onto the list of other things that we are going to be looking at. So thank you for the comments. And even though I'm archiving questions there, it's still there. So we in the background will see all the questions, and we will be addressing it also with Marek. So I'm not deleting it, only for your information. I assume that developers themselves could also explain and give clarity about Marek's vision when it's mentioned that some ideas wouldn't fit in. Can you tell us or not? So again, could developers themselves explain and give a clarity about Marek's vision?
I think like today, if people ask questions to the guys here,
Yeah.
can we help people, can we help to clarify?
I'm sure guys here will be able to give you answers and address your comments or questions without any problem. There is nothing like they cannot speak, they cannot disclose something. Simply what they are working on, or if there is some vision, they know what Marek wants, so they can definitely articulate it very clearly. Okay, moving on. Okay, evolution back again, thank you. So, cleared my first question. There are buttons / options visible in the skins customization menu. That doesn't work yet. Are you working on this? Okay, Philip is looking at me a little bit surprised, so
So
maybe
if there are any buttons which are not working in the game, please report it, because it's probably a bug,
yes.
not a feature.
So Philip actually. So going again, we will address it with Philip, and Evolution, please report it as an official bug or send us a simple email.
It's
with a
Evolution
screenshot.
NL. Not
Evolution NL.
Yeah,
Yes,
Evolution,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this helps to clarify the question. Thank you very much,
I'll see you in
and
chat.
we'll address it and we'll take it with Philip, because he was actually the one standing behind and coding the entire functionality or the feature around skins. So that's it. Any official tutorials for visual scripting tool? Official tutorials for visual scripting, Peter?
I suppose there is one, but it's obsolete. So it's difficulty with early access development, that we are still working and improving and changing things, and all these tutorials are getting old. So this happened also to visual scripting too, but when it's fixed and we say that it's final version, there will be definitely more than one tutorial. Because as I said, I want players to use it. I want to use it also internally and use it for all possible scenarios in the game, mission, campaigns, custom created campaigns and so on. So it must be well documented and a lot of tutorials for that.
I think that goes for all elements of the game. I think I appreciate that documentation and some tutorials out there that we have are outdated, and I think that's definitely something like, for the time, there'll be a point where all documentation will be like up to date and actually accurate as well. So I'm sure that will be coming in the future.
Thank you. Delta for Phoenix is asking, will you add the mod support to the 3D printing of ships? Because as far as you know, modded blocks just vanish.
You just have like
Yeah, okay, I forgot to remove this, I apologize. Will you be able to use visual scripting for Medieval?
Question for Tim.
It's a question for Tim, so I will
Tim
ask
is
you.
actually watching the stream right now, so
Is he?
let's hear from the chat. I'm just waiting to see his answer.
So Tim, if you're watching us, please.
We've got both, Deep Flame's actually watching from Dublin right now, so you can
Nice,
see us all. so
nice,
let's see.
nice.
Technically, it's possible.
Technically it's possible, yes, so let's see what Tim is going to respond in the chat. Hopefully he will. In the meantime, I'll take Joel, if you need a bathroom break.
No, I'm fine.
No, he's
I'm
fine, okay.
I'm good.
Will you publish something like a roadmap with future plans and in which order they come? I'll take this suggestion to Marek, and I can talk to him and the leadership team about publishing the roadmap. I remember there was a roadmap back from 2016, if I'm not mistaken, on our website about the game. So possibly, yes, nothing is impossible, I can say. So we'll discuss it with Marek. I'm not promising anything at this moment, but we'll definitely discuss about it. Going to the next one. Any plans to reduce duplicate mods because dedicated servers are unable to download private mods? Okay.
Yeah, what is it called?
Actually, we don't own the mods itself, so whatever people post there, it's very difficult for us to check everything, and therefore we take mods as something what players created, and simply we cannot verify every single mod. Maybe Philip
I'm not
can
sure what
give a little bit more.
what this guy means, but there is a change which will come live in the next major, because I was in charge of doing the Steam integration. So we will do more dependencies, and with the more dependencies there will be less mods, because you will be able to like create a dependency for the mod, and we believe it will be easier for the users. So you will be if you know the Steam mod dependencies, that's actually added. So if he means this, then yes, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Just-
Okay, I will.
Just
Sorry.
going back to the one from Deep Flame. Deep
Go
Flame
ahead.
says, regarding the visual scripting, he said, no, we won't be implementing that anytime soon, because at the moment they've got other priorities, but you can, with a bit of programming, know how to make quests. Know how to make quests, etc. I think already you can make quests,
Okay.
but not using
Great.
the visual scripting. So yeah.
Good,
Yes.
thank you.
Deep Flame.
All right, I'll take one more question, and then we will ask Dusan to present a little bit about Medieval Engineer. So the last question we'll be taking right now. Will the cockpit/flight seats receive interactive buttons and multiple LCD screens?
Maybe.
That's a good suggestion. Guys are saying maybe, yes, it will need to go through our internal process of developing these things. So yeah, the answer is maybe, and we'll take it as a possible next feature. All right, so I will stop with Q&A right now, and I will ask Dusan Repik, who is one of team members of Medieval Engineers, to take us through the presentation about Medieval Engineers.
Can you just, I don't know, it's hard to do it with my hands.
So hello everybody. Before I start the presentation about Medieval Engineers, let me show you a quick video. So for you who don't know the game, you will have at least some idea what to expect. welcome to the King Software House. My name is Dusan Repik. I'm working here as a member of Quality Assurance team for Medieval Engineers project. The trailer you just saw was our latest major update video, trailer for 06 update. And it was primarily focused on the new planet we released and the mechanical blocks.
And made by you as well.
And I made the trailer, yeah. So I will talk about these later during the presentation. Now let's go ahead. So this presentation is more for the people who don't know or who haven't played Medieval Engineers yet. So what kind of game Medieval Engineers is as well a sandbox building game which is based on the creativity of the players. So you can build a lot of structures from houses to settlements, villages, castles, then some machinery, basic machinery, and you are progressing through the game from the very low basic level to the most progressed one, and the game is teaching you how to play and how to get the most of it by the tutorial quests. And it's about mainly focused on the building, and later we will add maybe something more, but that's now for. So the game is an early access for 3 years now approximately, and we sold over 300,000 copies so far, which gave us a solid foundation for the development. We have also a big modding community. We have over 1,000 submissions on Steam Workshop. Some of those are here showed. For example, this world is with a huge castle and with whole village inside, surrounded by a thick wall, and you will see more of it later. Or this very nice basilic, which is also very nice and cozy. All right. So, once you start playing Medieval Engineers, you will find yourself spawn on the planet with nothing, just your bare hands. You look around, find some sticks and stones, and make your first tool, which is an axe, and with that axe you cut down some trees, cut the timbers out of them, so you have the resources to build your first house, which can look like this. Maybe you don't find it impressive on the first look, but believe me, after you finish your first house, you will have a very warm feeling. So later you progress the game, you are doing the research quests, which will lead you through the game and tell you how to play it, and not how to play it, but what are the possibilities in the game. And maybe your next house will look more like this, with a solid stone foundation and a lot of more details, windows. So then you progress further through the game, and you will learn how to build mechanical devices. For example, here we have some simple farming blocks attached to the cart, which is on a kind of railings surrounded and tied on a rope to the rope drum. So the wheat which engineer seed before, he doesn't have to harvest himself, he just operates the rope drum, and because it's attached to the ropes, the carts will do the job for him. So this is kind of example of engineering in our game. Of course, it's not limited to the carts, you can basically do what you want if you if you dare. So yeah, later you will find yourself bigger and bigger challenges. You will be finding yourself building whole settlements, cities with big castles, underground mines with, again, railings and carts moving there. And this is the castle with a village which you saw on the first page. This castle, it's very, very nice, this world, because it's really a huge village. I couldn't make a better picture because it never fits on a whole screen, so it's much larger than this. It's surrounded by a big wall and these cliffs, so he's like very prepared for the siege, like come and try. And we have fully volumetric and dynamic planet, we are using the voxel technology as well. So that means the planet is editable. And for example, in survival, we have a wooden shovel. We have a shovel tool with which you can dig or fill any hole you need. And for example, if you have not some narrow surface, you can make it flat and prepared for your structures. You know, so you will have an even surface, which is also very cool. So we are able to adding voxels to the planet in survival. And in creative, we have a tool called Voxel Hand, as well as Space Engineers, and that's like really crazy stuff. You can do any kind of things with this voxel hand. For example, you saw now the engineer was running while creating the voxels beneath him, so he was able to run on the surface which he was creating at the time, which is nice. So next. So yeah, after you build all the houses and the settlements and starting engineering your way through, you will start building any kind of siege machines or using the blueprints from the workshop for all kinds of catapults, mangonels, trebuchets, and other siege devices. For example, here you can see trebuchet in action. The destruction you see here is not pre-made, it's everything calculated on a spot, based on a force with which the projectile will hit the spot. That's how the destruction is made, and it's wow. Also, we have structural integrity, which is basically, to explain this, is, let's say you are building a tower, and you are building higher and higher, and without adding any extra support for the tower will, at some certain point, getting a little bit destroyed, and at a certain point it will fall down because you didn't build enough support to hold the weight of the tower itself. Here you can see the example after some siege. Here is some catapult engineer is looking on the mess made here, destroyed village, and the tower, part of the tower is broken, fall apart because the siege destroyed some crucial parts and it didn't hold the weight of its own anymore. We will see some more example of the structural integrity on the next shot, if Joel will allow me. All right. Yeah, this is the example of structural integrity. You see it's destroying the support of the tower, the connections. It will, at a certain point, fall down and break apart. Don't try this because it's very dangerous. This guy was so lucky that he hit the right spot. So this is our structural integrity at its finest, also with the destructions. So yeah, to wrap it, as I mentioned on the start, our last major update was for 06, where we released the brand new planet with all kinds of different biomes and new resources, as well as the new progression and approach to the game, because we released quests which will lead you through the game and teach you all the things you need to know to enjoy the game at the fullest potential. And we also added a long time wanted mechanical blocks, at least the first batch of them. Windmill, sawmill, and gristmill. The mechanical blocks are saving you a lot of time and energy, because once you get to them and build them, they will use the power of wind as a source of power, which gets through the mechanical blocks directly to the production block, and you can make your timbers or flour or linseed oil or different stuff much more quicker and effectively, much more effective than if you would be doing it by yourself. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and have a nice time during the day. I guess now there will be some questions and answers. All right, so ask anything and
So welcome. continue with Q&A for a few minutes, and then we will ask Lucy to give us a short update from our HR team and also about our sister company, Good AI. So the question that we have there is, will there be another tutorial in the game? For many new players, the beginning is quite difficult. The tutorial from the past was already good, just be refreshed. We are aware that for new players, especially those who are not really familiar with sandbox game or this kind of games, the learning curve is really, really steep, and it's really difficult to understand how the game should be played. I'm not saying we are working right now on this, because we are not. We have a multiplayer currently on our roadmap, but we know that this needs to be addressed. So I can say that yes, we will be definitely working in the future on this to make sure that new players will get easier start or the beginning of the game, let's so to say. For Medieval Engineers, the team is already working on it, and they have a pretty good changes that are planned for next major release that I can share. Are you planning to add more space anomalies for Space Engineers like Plasma Storm? That's a good idea. We were not thinking about any kind of anomalies like this. So, but again, that's a good idea. Not planning it right now at this very moment. So that's what I can say. Are there any parts for the Survivor overhaul you can disclose, like features, changes? We are not there yet to have a finalized major overhaul for survival. So simply, there are like dozens of possibilities that we can choose or we can pick from the list we have there. So it would be really a speculation only from my side to say this will make it, this will make it. Philip?
And actually, if you apply the multiplier test, you could see one of the features we picked from the survival, which is player persistency. So if you die, you respawn where you died. Or if you disconnect, you respawn where you disconnected. And you don't lose the inventory. So that's one of the features which was added from the survival.
And actually, I tried that myself. It was quite. I hadn't tested it out until the last week, and basically what happened was, I logged out of a car. I was in some car. I logged out, and then I came back literally like 2 or 3 hours later. I just loaded the server, joined, expected a respawn screen. And I was in my car again, and I was like, "What? How is this possible?" Then it suddenly clicked. Add persistency. So that's really cool. And there's actually a couple of. In that test we did last week, there's a couple of the behind the scenes quality of life improvements. We had some safe zones as well. So there's a number of things in that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, thank you. Any plans in the future to combine Space and Medieval Engineers, like being able to build a stone castle in Space Engineers? We were not really thinking about this, to be honest. Even though we keep it as a separate games, there are like core features that are the same. The engine is the same. The building mechanics are pretty much the same. The character features are very similar, but we are not going to merge Space and Medieval Engineers. I think there will be very small number of people who would enjoy it. Probably the majority would be like, what is this? But it's maybe only my opinion. All right, I will stop taking questions at this moment because we will have a few minutes for Lucia, who will present us a few slides there. So Joe, if we can go to next slide, please.
Okay, thank you, Vlado.
Sure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in the King Software House. My name is Lucia, and I'm responsible for human resources here. And I would like to just quickly remind you, we are still hiring. So in case you are interested, you can check our jobs at this website, or you can contact me via this address that is mentioned here. Our team currently consists of around 40 people. It's an international team. We have people coming not only from Czech and Slovak Republic, but also from other countries, Azerbaijan, Russia, US, and many other China, many other countries.
Brazil.
So, Brazil as well, yes. So whole world is people from all around the world are working for us. So if you would like to be part of our great and amazing team, and you would like to join us working on our games, please feel free to contact me via email, or you can stop me while I'm here around. So that's about our hiring, and one more information. Our sister company, Good AI, that is developing general artificial intelligence, is organizing a conference this summer in August. And this is conference that is mainly for researchers. There is some like a research part for 3 days, but there is also one day which is going to be Saturday, August 25th. That is for general public. They will deal there with different kind of topics related to artificial intelligence. So in case you are interested in this topic, you are more than welcome to join us. There are the tickets for sale that are just for this one public day. And also there is a big discount for students. So please feel free to check our website for the conference, for the program, for the speakers, and for possible tickets. We also offer 10% discount for Keen community. So if you are interested, here is the code that you can use to get additional 10% discount while you are buying these tickets for the conference. Okay, so that's all from my side. If you have any questions on me, feel free to ask. You can ask either now or you can see me around. And now we will enjoy short break,
Yes.
is it right? So, so please enjoy the break, have some refreshments, chat with our developers, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Lucy. This concludes the morning part of our event today, so we'll have a break. You can enjoy the game over there. For all on the Twitch, we will be also addressing the questions afterwards, after Matik's presentation, so we will try to put a little bit more time there because there are questions simply popping up on the Slido, which is great. So thank you very much for all your questions. You're doing really great. So now we will put the stream on hold and we will come back to it at 12:15 our time, which is actually 45 minutes from now, 40 minutes from now, if I'm looking correctly. So thank you very much again, and we'll see you again shortly.